And we're back, the 30-day at-home handstand challenge. We're in session 8. We're wrapping up the balance work that we've been focusing on this week. Now, it's really important to note, guys, at this stage, I would expect that we can get about a 10-second hold on the partial wall handstand before we're taking it to the floor. Once we go to the floor, we don't want to have balance part of the equation. We really want to work on the kick up to the handstand, which is what we're going to be practicing today. Not to say that you shouldn't practice some of this stuff, but just understand that it's going to be more challenging if we're not already comfortable balancing off the wall. So if you're having problems with that, make sure you revisit session 6 and session 7 so that you can work on some partial handstand reps and you can practice those holds to make sure that that feels comfortable and confident first. At that point, we have an understanding of where the weight is in our hands and we know how to use our body to stay in that straight line. Make sure you continue to practice developing the straight body core position so that you understand the posterior pelvic tilt to keep the back flat, and then you also understand how to get those shoulders all the way open. So hit the warm up first, guys. It's linked up at the top. And once you're ready, let's jump into some balance work. So as we are learning the handstand, and it's something that we're trying to now put into a weekly schedule, or we're trying to build it into the practice that we already have, we want to approach our balance work in a way that's gonna set us up for success. So we did our warm-up already, we did the physical preparation that we need to have success when we're balancing. What we wanna do is we wanna set the tone for our balance work by practicing things that we've already mastered. So we're gonna start with some easy stuff, and we're gonna practice on refining how well we can perform those exercises, and then we're gonna jump into the balance work. So we're gonna begin with either a forearm stand or a headstand, and it's gonna be 30 seconds to warm up. So we're gonna start with that one. I'm gonna go with the forearm stand today, and the focus here is on making a really nice shape. So focusing on the body position, bum tight, belly lifted. We're gonna start with a 30-second hold here. Once you're done the 30-second hold there, we're gonna bump up a level, we're gonna take it to the wall, and we're gonna practice some of our partial repetitions. If you need to take more than one set at any particular exercise, feel free. Approach this like a practice. If the headstand felt a little hard, or if that forearm stand felt a little hard, do another set there, build up to another 30-second hold where you feel comfortable with it. The focus is on practicing it so we get better at performing that drill. We're gonna go ahead to the partial wall handstand next. And on this one, we're gonna aim to get 5 reps where we're touching a good clean balance position every time. So focusing on our shape, foot comes up, we touch, feel the balance, put the foot back, and again, foot back. Really emphasizing the shape, focusing on keeping everything nice and strong, nice and straight, shoulders tall, ribs lifted. Once you got your 10 reps there, let's work on a little bit of shape work. We're gonna take it down to the floor. We're gonna practice 5 hollow leg lifts. On the back, head, shoulders, low back and bum on the ground. Let's make sure our legs are nice and strong and nice and straight. Lower down, make sure that back stays on the ground, and lift back up. We're gonna do 5 reps here. Once we got our 5 reps, we're going back to the wall, and now we're gonna work on our hold. So here, the goal is to get a 10-second hold. If you get stuck on this one because you can't achieve a 10-second hold, this is where we wanna stay for today. We wanna practice getting to the point where we can hold this partial handstand for 10 seconds. If you can't hold it for 10 seconds, why are we trying to kick up to it and hold it? It's gonna be a lot harder. So we wanna practice this first where we can get success on it. Feel free to spend as many sets as you need practicing that position. Anywhere from 2 to 10 seconds is our goal on this one. If we can't get 2 seconds yet, we wanna go back to just doing those repetitions until that feels more comfortable, and then we're gonna get to the point where we can start to balance and hold the balance. So 10-second holds in the partial handstand. Remember, set the shape, shoulders tall, ribs lifted, 1 foot up, feel the weight in the hands, center of the palms, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. remember to be aware of what the body is doing when you guys are holding that handstand against the wall. We want to maintain that straight position, and that comes with the understanding of pelvic positioning and strength in the core in that straight body position. If that's a limiting factor, it means we need to do more core work to make sure that that is stable. If you're filming your sets, you'll be able to have a good understanding of what's happening with the body. And in between sets, simply perform whatever exercise you need to do to improve on that handstand position. Now, we've got our 10 seconds. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna work on some kick-ups on the floor. For this one, I like to start with the hands on the ground to set the position of the hands first before going for the kick-up. So, hands on the ground, we're gonna make sure we have shoulder-width hands. And when you put the hands down, we can either have the index fingers pointing straight forwards, or we're gonna have the middle fingers pointing straight forwards. Bent leg in the front, straight leg in the back. And our first goal when we kick up is to lock the shoulders into position. So as we kick up, getting my shoulders open so that they're beside the ears and they're nice and strong. And I feel a little balance with that foot above my head. So we're here, we kick up, we find our balance, and then once we've found it, we slowly bring the legs together so that we're holding the handstand shape. Now, if you're finding that this one is tricky, one of the things you can do is you can alternate between the wall handstand and the kick to handstand, where we're doing that partial wall position, where we're feeling the top part of the handstand. What does my balance feel like here before I pull my feet together? And then we try to simulate that on the floor, where we get into the same shape before we pull our feet together and begin the balance. We want to separate both the kick into the handstand and the handstand itself into two different phases. So we can work on the balance from the wall to feel that balance and to get more time in that balance. And then we're practicing the kick and that kick entry into the handstand. So there hasn't been very many standards that I've put in place as we're practicing the handstand work. But before we move on to more advanced stuff, we absolutely want to have a 10-second hold. So working on that 10-second partial and being able to kick into a 10-second handstand are going to be essential before we move into the next phase of our learning, which is more endurance work and some advanced stuff. When you guys finish your balance practice, we're at the point where we're not doing a high amount of time on the hands. We're still doing a relatively low amount of time. So I'd recommend at the end of every session to incorporate some type of conditioning exercise that's going to help strengthen those shoulders more for the endurance work down the road. So what I would recommend is going against the wall and just doing a basic wall handstand and holding for a minute. So today was all about the kick to handstand. For the bonus, we're gonna see if we can get into the handstand with a tuck and with a straddle entry. So these are a little bit more advanced techniques in getting into the handstand, but the reason why we'd want to incorporate these is to eliminate always kicking on one side. By kicking on one side, we start to develop an imbalance in the body because generally, we're gonna be kicking off the same leg every time. So for a tuck up to a handstand, we're gonna start with the hands down, same hand position we practiced when we were kicking up, fingers facing forward, shoulder width hands, and our goal here is to get stacked as soon as we jump up into the handstand. So I'm gonna jump the hips over my shoulders, and the goal is to have a straight line from the hands all the way up to the hips, and then I'm gonna extend the legs into the handstand. So I'm here, feeling some weight on my hands, toes light, I'm gonna jump my bum over my shoulders, and then extend up into the handstand position. Watch again, weights in the hands, I jump, and I extend up into the handstand. Straddle entry, instead of keeping the feet together and tucking up, we're gonna straddle up with the legs circling around the body into the handstand position. Don't mistake this for a press, it is not a press. Hands on the ground. We're gonna start with the legs bent so we can push them first. The goal is to jump and get the hips over the head. And again, we must lock into that position with the shoulders open before we go to move the legs to make sure we're stable. So we're here, hips come up, legs come out, and then we roll the feet around all the way up into the handstand shape. Watch again, weight in the hands, hips jump up, feet circle around, and up into the handstand. The critical piece on both these entries is that when you jump up, the hips come right over the shoulders, and we open those shoulders and we lock into the handstand position so that we're stable while we continue to move the legs all the way overhead. And that's a wrap for the balance work for this week. Now, just because we did a 6, a 7, and an 8th session where we're focusing on balance doesn't mean you should move through them sequentially. Take as much time on each one as you need. We covered this stuff in a week, but it might take months for you guys to master. That's why I wanted to incorporate a little routine that you guys could have, that you could work into your weekly training sessions to practice balance further and really master balance, because we want to have those reps and those holds off the wall and a solid kick to a solid hold on the floor before really thinking about attacking endurance. Take as much time as you need to practice these shapes, to be aware of what the body is doing and to feel the weight in the hands before we're moving on to more challenging stuff. Make sure you guys are tagging me in your work on Instagram as always. Hope you're all doing well, and I'll see you back here next week as we learn some endurance stuff and we do some prep work to get ready for press handstands.